Stressed, worried, and pressured, Cristiano Ronaldo carried more than just his own dreams on his shoulders. Being the strongest meant bearing the weight of immense responsibilities. Every step he took was scrutinized. Every failure, every dive, every tear was magnified. Critics said he was a showman footballer who loved his empire more than his country. Despite the impossible expectations, despite hated by FIFA and millions of people, now, finally, Ronaldo began rewriting his story with Portugal. From heartbreak to glory, from hope to coach, this is the story of Cristiano Ronaldo's journey with his country, Portugal. So let's get started. Ronaldo's journey began in August 2003, a skinny, unknown teenager from Madeira. He was just 18 years old. At 18, he made his debut for Portugal against Kazakhstan. At that time, Portugal did not have a bright football history like other great nations. Brazil, Italy, Germany, Spain, and France were making history back then. But nobody predicted that Portugal was about to change because of one player. Ronaldo had just joined the national team, and the world was about to witness a legend in the making. By the following summer, he was already part of the European Championship squad hosted in Portugal. Ronaldo dazzled the crowds, scoring against Greece in the group stage and again the Netherlands in the semifinal. At just 19, he had taken his country to a major final, but that night in Lisbon ended in heartbreak. Against Greece, the fairy tale collapsed. Portugal lost 1-0. As the final whistle blew, Ronaldo broke down in tears. The boy who had lit up Europe now carried the nation's sorrow on his shoulders. Yet, in the years to come, the challenges would only intensify. The pain and suffering, 2005-2004. This chapter of Ronaldo's career was marked by brilliance and hardship. In 2005, Ronaldo faced one of the most challenging periods of his career. He lost his father that year, which deeply affected his performance on the field. Then, the 2016 World Cup, Portugal reached the semifinals. Ronaldo scored his penalty in the shootout against England, yet a small gesture to the bench after Wayne Rooney's red card made him the villain in the eyes of some fans. Portugal eventually lost to France in the semifinal, another chance gone. In Euro 2012, Portugal were knocked out by Germany in the quarterfinals. The 2010 World Cup brought another early exit, eliminated by Spain in the round of 16. Ronaldo stormed off the pitch, cameras following his every move. Euro 2012 offered hope. Ronaldo was sensational, scoring against the Netherlands and carrying Portugal past the Czech Republic. But in the semifinal shootout against Spain, he waited for the fifth penalty that never came.
Spain won before he could take it. Another dream shattered. The 2014 World Cup was another disastrous. Portugal were eliminated in the group stage after losing 0-4 to Germany, drawing 2-2 with the USA, and winning 2-1 against Ghana. Ronaldo scored once but struggled with injuries, and the heavy defeat to Germany ended their chances. By then, criticism of Ronaldo grew louder. Fans saw Portugal as a team of below-average players and Ronaldo as someone obsessed with personal records rather than national glory. He wasn't Maradona, he wasn't Pelé, he wasn't a successful leader yet. But his story was far from over. Euro 2016 in France marked a turning point for Cristiano Ronaldo. At 31, he led a Portugal team that struggled through the group stage, drawing all three of their matches. But knockout football was a different story. Ronaldo scored twice against Hungary in a thrilling 3-3 draw, helping Portugal advance to the round of 16. In the semifinal against Wales, he scored a powerful header and assisted another goal, propelling Portugal into the final. Then disaster struck. In the 25th minute of the final against France, Ronaldo collided with Dimitri Payet. His knee buckled and he was forced off the pitch in tears. It seemed his dream of winning Euro 2016 was over.
Yet, legends don't fade easily. From the sidelines, Ronaldo shouted instructions, guided his teammates, and inspired them to keep fighting. In extra time, Eda scored the decisive goal. Portugal won 1-0, claiming their first ever European championship. Everyone realized what Ronaldo would become for Portugal in the future. Even in pain, Ronaldo lifted the trophy. The boy who once cried in defeat now cried in triumph. From that moment, his story with Portugal began a new chapter, one of glory and redemption. Victory in France transformed Ronaldo. He was no longer just a superstar. He is now a national leader. In 2017, he became the all-time top scorer in European international football. In 2019, he led Portugal to the inaugural UEFA Nations League title, scoring a hat-trick against Switzerland in the semifinal and helping secure a 1-0 victory over the Netherlands in the final. Portugal now had 2 major trophies in 3 years. Ronaldo's critics began to understand he wasn't selfish. He simply hadn't had the right team to succeed, until now. But whatever it was, time waits for no one. Euro 2020 delayed to 2021 due to the pandemic, but Ronaldo was unstoppable. As a Portuguese footballer, he scored 5 goals, winning the Golden Boot, but Portugal were eliminated in the round of 16 by Belgium. At the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, 37-year-old Ronaldo faced new challenges. Portugal's manager benched him for knockout games against Morocco in the quarter-final. Ronaldo came on but could not change the outcome. At full time, he walked down the tunnel in tears, signaling the possible end of Portugal's World Cup dreams. Yet, Ronaldo's spirit never faded. Even as his legs slowed, his hunger remained. He broke record after record, becoming the all-time top scorer and most capped player in international football history. Euro 2024 in Germany saw Ronaldo play as a veteran leader. Portugal, led by young stars Bruno Fernandes, Rafael Leao, and João Felix, reached the quarterfinals before losing to France. Then comes the next challenge. On June 8, 2025, in the UEFA Nations League final at Munich, 40-year-old Ronaldo defied age and expectations. He scored a thunderous equalizer against Spain and led Portugal through 120 minutes of intense play. In the penalty shootout, Diego Costa's save on Alvaro Morata sealed the win. Portugal became the first team to win the Nations League twice. Even at 40, Ronaldo proved what he could do for his country. For Ronaldo, the 2026 World Cup represents one final opportunity to cement his legacy, just as Messi did with Argentina in 2022. If he succeeds, his story will be complete. A journey from a young, ambitious boy to an immortal legend, defining Portugal's era/time. Football history for generations. Portugal enters the 2026 World Cup with one of the most complete squads in its history, a group carefully molded under Roberto Martinez and carrying the weight of genuine expectation. Between the posts, Diego Costa stands tall as the nation's undisputed number 1. At just 26, the FC Porto keeper has already earned a reputation for his reflexes and composure, commanding his box with authority. Behind him, providing security and depth for the biggest stage, are José Sá and Rui Silva. In defense, Ruben Dias anchors the backline, a leader hardened by years in the Premier League. Alongside him, the youthful Gonzalo Inácio and Antonio Silva bring freshness and anticipation, while Renato Veiga adds flexibility. The flanks are patrolled by the electric Nuno Mendes and the evergreen João Cancelo, a combination of youthful energy and veteran craft, with Nuno Tavares offering left-sided reinforcement. Together they form a backline that marries strength with adaptability. The midfield is where Portugal's rhythm begins. João Palin and Ruben Neves provide the steel and structure. Vitinha dictates tempo with his intelligence, while João Neves injects youthful dynamism, being the creative burden with artistry and vision. Up front, the story inevitably circles back to Cristiano Ronaldo. At 40, he remains Portugal's talisman, a relentless goal scorer whose presence still shapes defenses. Supporting him is Gonzalo Ramos, ready to seize his moment as the next great number 9. While the wings are loaded with firepower, Rafael Leão's raw pace, Pedro Neto's direct runs, Pedro Gonçalves' finesse, and the trickery of Francisco Trincao and Francisco Conceição, João Felix too hovers between lines, offering flair as a second striker. With an average age of just 27, this Portugal blends maturity and promise. Martinez favors a fluid 4-3-3 that shifts seamlessly into a 4-2-3-1, built on controlled possession, relentless pressing, and sharp counterattacks. Their ability to dictate games, often holding over 60% of the ball while striking with devastating speed on the break, has already yielded flawless qualifying campaigns and Nations League triumphs. For Portugal, the pieces are in place. Depth across every position, a tactical identity, and a blend of legends and rising stars. As they march toward the World Cup, the question is no longer whether they can compete, but this golden mix can finally deliver football's greatest prize. So, what do you think? Will Ronaldo complete his story with Portugal? Share your opinion.
For more than 2 decades, one man carried the weight of a dream that began on the small island of Madeira, a boy with nothing but a ball, a vision, and a fire that refused to fade. Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't born a legend, he became one, through pain, through sacrifice, through a hunger that no victory could ever satisfy. Every fall made him rise higher. Every defeat taught him how to conquer. Every tear, every roar, every silence built the man the world now calls immortal. From Lisbon to Manchester, Madrid to Turin, and now back in the red of Portugal, Ronaldo's journey was never just about clubs or countries. It was about proving that no matter where you come from, dreams have no limits. He carried Portugal when few believed they could ever win. He lifted them from heartbreak to glory. He cried in 2004 as a boy and cried again in 2016, but this time as a champion.
Over the years, critics called him selfish, arrogant, obsessed. But what they didn't understand was that greatness often looks like arrogance to those who settle for less. Behind every celebration, behind every see you, there was pain, sacrifice, and a will forged through struggle. While others rested, he trained. While others doubted, he believed. The road was never easy. There were injuries, heartbreaks, betrayals, and moments when even destiny seemed unfair. Yet Ronaldo stood tall, because legends don't seek comfort, they seek purpose. And his purpose was clear, to carry Portugal to heights they had never known before.
Euro 2016 was not just a tournament, it was redemption. When he went down injured in the final, the boy who once cried in defeat rose as a leader from the sidelines. His voice echoed louder than the crowd, guiding his team to history. That night, Portugal lifted its first ever European trophy, and Ronaldo lifted more than silverware. He lifted the soul of a nation. Years later, when the world said his time was over, he proved them wrong again. Nations League 2019, Euro 2024, and even at 40, he showed that age can slow your legs, but never your heart. Because legends never retire. They simply evolve. Today, Ronaldo is more than a footballer. He is a mirror for every dreamer who dares to fight against the odds. From the kids playing barefoot in Madeira to the young talents rising in Lisbon, his story whispers one message. You can become anything if you never stop believing. The next generation of Portugal, João Felix, Rafael Leao, Gonçalo Ramos, they grew up watching him, learning from his fire. He became their symbol, their standard, their inspiration. And when he finally leaves the field, it won't be an end. It will be a beginning of a new era built on his legacy. Someday soon, the final whistle will blow. The crowd will rise. The cameras will capture his last walk off the pitch. But the world will not remember him for his last game. They will remember him for everything he gave, for every goal, every scream, every tear, for the spirit that refused to break, for the pride that carried a flag, and for the heart that beat only for Portugal. Ronaldo showed that greatness is not defined by the trophies you lift, but by the lives you touch. His story is not a fairy tale. It's a lesson, a reminder that even in the face of doubt, pain, and time, belief can make you eternal. Cristiano Ronaldo, the boy from Madeira who dreamed beyond the stars, the man who became a king, the king who became a legend, and the legend who became immortal. This is not goodbye. This is forever.